Again, that the corporate media has not shown you in terms of what was really going on in Kenosha.
So wait. Did y'all hear that? This video is brought to you by Extreme Tees. Click on the link below. Make sure you put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get a 20% discount. Friends, do you feel uncertain about the future, especially with the holidays right upon us? You're wondering if there's anything you can do to protect yourself and your family from some unexpected food shortages? Well, yes, there is. Our friends at My Patriot Supply, they specialize in emergency long-term storage food, y'all. They are, like I always tell y'all, America's #1 preparedness company. And they're well stocked with the food that you're gonna need. See, other companies have run out of almost everything that they sell because they didn't prepare for what the world is going through right now. But My Patriot Supply, they walk the walk. You can trust this company. And right now, you can save $100 on their 3-month emergency food kit. This kit has enough food to get you through difficult times ahead. But don't you wait. You might just miss out. Go to preparewithkevinscorner.com and save $100 on your 3-month emergency food kit. That is preparewithkevinscorner.com. And to avoid holiday shipping delays, act now. Go to preparewithkevinscorner.com. Now let's get to this video. And we come to the end of my race baiting bunch series exposing why all of these black folks were mad over the whole Kyle Rittenhouse verdict and so misinformed. And then, of course, the avenues and tools that have led to all of that ignorance that has been spread all over the internet. All of these tools that were used to lead to folks screaming and ripping open their shirt talking about, I am a sacrifice, or whatever that one lady was saying. All of the tools used to have black people online get mad, talking about some man, 2 black beautiful lives just taken, only to find out that they were white. And of course, part 2 exposed, of course, the race baiting bunch, which was a whole all-black panel of angry race baiters who make their living doing that and getting paid by white liberal networks. Then part 3 was a combo of the white liberal mixed with 2 angry black liberal women. And they got on his platform and just went ham talking about racism and stuff as the commentator sat there and went, yeah. But now, we're going to end showing the contrast between rational, common sense, smart, black conservatives who a lot of black folks think are the sellouts. I want you to understand how a good stream of logic is applied to their opinion, not the stuff we just heard. A good stream of logic and rationale. Starting off right here, y'all, with my man.
If your community, where your father lives, where you hold a job, where your grandparents live, was being looted and burned.
Yeah,
and there's all kinds of violent activities. Again, that the corporate media has not shown you in terms of what was really going on in Kenosha in the aftermath of the Jacob Blake shooting.
Okay.
There's video of horrendous attacks.
Really?
On citizens there in Kenosha.
Now, I'm wondering why CNN and MSNBC and all of that, when they had all the race baiters on, didn't show that footage in the background. Now, I know they've done that in the past where they went in to cover a Black Lives Matter peaceful protest. And they lied to their audience own eyes as buildings were being burned and looted behind them as they sat and told their audience that these are mostly peaceful protests. But because they're trying to hide that narrative that Kyle Rittenhouse had a real reason to go there, instead of just waking up one day and saying, you know what, my goal is to go and kill some white black people, or even go and kill some white liberals. He, I guess, went down there for what again? Because you listen to them. None of that happened. It was all peaceful. But we don't see no footage of what made Kyle Rittenhouse or any others go into Kenosha and feel like they even had to do this stuff. Thank you, man. Thank you being one of the black folks that actually looked into this and saw the video. Let's continue, though.
But the media won't put that in your face.
Oh, why not?
And give you an accurate picture of what was going on. And we want to sit around and second guess Kyle Rittenhouse. What's he doing there? Oh, he should have stayed at home, blah, blah. And some of that I can almost understand if it were consistent. If we're going to second guess Kyle Rittenhouse's behavior, why was he there? Don't get upset.
When what?
When people say, why did George Floyd resist arrest for 30 straight minutes? Why did George Floyd try to pass off counterfeit bills? Why did George Floyd fill himself up with fentanyl? Again, because if you're going to criticize and second guess Kyle Rittenhouse, you need to be open to people second guessing and criticizing your favorite victim or martyr.
Oh, now see, this is why I love being a black conservative. They think being a black conservative is like being like Carlton Banks or somebody. Not unusual to be loved by. No, I'm just as hip as the next dude. I come out the streets. Being a black conservative is having enough common sense to understand the role of the government versus you. Making your voting decisions not based on all of the crap we've been hearing in my other videos of racism, sexism, white nationalism, but instead evidence, information, productivity, policies. See, so now here this man is simply talking about, okay, y'all all want to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't have been there and this and that. Well, whenever we sit back and say, now, wait a minute, we done heard another shooting took place. So instead of jumping on the bandwagon and getting mad and saying, let's go and burn up stuff and not even question, what was that dude doing there? Why did that dude do this? Did that make any sense? What led to this dude getting whatever? When you do that and all that evidence comes out, then black folks on TV downplay that and say, you know what, you're trying to demonize the victim. None of that has anything to do with it. When you do that, irrational black folks that are emotional to spot into this mess, they say, man, you a sellout, man. Oh, so I'm supposed to make excuses for all of that stuff that George Floyd and the rest of them did that led to their demise. I'm supposed to overlook all of that. Well, first thing I would do is say, well, if that was me, would I have done that? How would I have handled this? So apparently the sympathizers all would have did exactly what George Floyd would have did. All of the sympathizers would have did exactly what Jacob Blake would have did. So if you yourself can sit back and go, A, B, C, D led to this right here, to E, I wouldn't have did that. That wouldn't have got me to this point. If you yourself wouldn't have did that and you can see how A, B, C, D ended up at E, then why are you getting mad? So you're going to excuse all of that? Yeah. See, this is what it means to be a rational thinker. Not just black, any rational thinker. But let's continue. I'm especially proud of these folks because they're black.
There are people, just like people will say, I could never see myself doing what Kyle Rittenhouse did. There's a lot of people. I could never see myself doing what George Floyd did. I'd never be in that position.
There you go.
I'd never be hyped up on fentanyl. I'd never be passing off counterfeit $20 bills. And I certainly wouldn't be arguing with the police for 20 or 30 minutes and resisting arrest and talking about I'm claustrophobic and I can't get in the backseat of the car. I wouldn't have done any of that. No. My problem with many people is there's no consistency of logic. It's just, hey, this is what's trending over Twitter. This is what they're saying over Instagram. This is what I'm supposed to believe because of my skin color. And I want to fit in and I don't want to be a sellout. I don't want to be accused of being racist.
See, there we go. There we go. This is a smart man. This man right here is saying, look, man, there's no consistency of logic. That is why these folks that get on these liberal networks, even the black race baiters, can throw out inflammatory statements and nobody questions it. Talk about black people are in fear of their life right now. That white folks are going to just hit the streets now and start randomly shooting black folks. Nobody stops to go, that doesn't make any sense because, see, your logic has been compromised. Nobody stops to question why a whole group of black race baiting folks are on a white liberal network spewing out all of this hatred towards white folks and these narratives, and the folks who own that company isn't calling them into the office saying, what are you doing? We didn't hire you to get on here and talk about bad mouth white folks. If you haven't realized, we're all white. We write your checks. Maybe you should go a little easier on the racist stuff. They're not doing that. And you have to ask yourself why. So yet I'm supposed to be a white man, and I'm not racist. I'm just a regular white man. But I allow the most angry, upset black folks to get on my platform, and I'm paying them to do nothing but talk about white people. Unless I am very aware of what they're doing and I'm in on it, I would never let that happen. But yet it happens. And nobody puts the connection together. I'm glad this dude is.
I got no problem with Kyle Rittenhouse. Glad he's free.
Thank you.
Glad that there are these 12 courageous jurors that rejected the nonsense put on by the prosecution.
My man. Now, wait a minute. It don't stop with him. We're going to close out with another smart black person, Candace Owens. She's pretty clever here. Let's see what she got to say about it and how she sees it.
So, Candace, I mean, what does this mean? Is Kenosha going to go up in flames tonight?
Probably, and this is exactly what they want, of course. Mob justice is what they want, so if they don't get what they want, they just go crazier. And, you know, I do want to point to this sort of public outcry, and you're absolutely right. Joseph Rosenbaum, the idea that he was there that night because he wanted to defend black lives is the biggest part of, to me, like one of the biggest pieces of jokes in this entire scenario. If anybody thinks that this guy, a convicted pedophile, spent 12 years in prison, you know, he also spent time actually in a mental asylum, right? He's got psychological issues, that he really went out that night because he wanted to defend black lives.
That was the rumor. That was the rumor, y'all. Because remember, all of those ignorant black people that we heard in part 1 and 2 and all of that stuff, they didn't bring none of that up. They didn't bring up his past. They didn't bring up the stuff he did to contribute to his demise. They didn't bring up the fact that he was dropping the N-word all over the place. They didn't bring up the fact that he molested some kids. They didn't bring up the fact that he wasn't even black.
No, he went out that night because everybody knows that when Black Lives Matter says that they're having a riot or they're going to be protesting, and I put that in parentheses because they're not there to protest. It means that you get to go out and you get to do criminal stuff and not get charged for it. Right?
Wait a minute. Candace, are you sure? Because, see, I just listened to some other black folks that they brought on these raggedy networks who tried to make it seem like these were all peaceful protests. They were all sitting around minding their business, and these white angry folks just pull up and pick up, jump out with their ARs and start spraying people for no reason. They mistook all of those burning buildings and car lots and stuff like that for violent rioters and destruction of property. When in reality, those were little barn fires, campfires. Right? Oh, so that's why they didn't show all of that footage in the background when the race baiters were on, right? Okay, let's continue, though. Because, see, Candace right here is smart enough to see through that garbage.
Right? This is what it means. It's one night of the purge. Go out, grab Louis Vuitton bags, smash and grab, do whatever you want. No one's going to do anything. In fact, the celebrities are going to get together and say, we got to figure out how we can bail these criminals out because they're fighting for justice.
Yeah, now, see, that's ironic because, see, remember, this is supposed to be a white man's land and white folks getting away with everything in self-defense and killing black folks at will. As we watched black neighborhoods after black neighborhood get burned by white and black folks, as we watch a whole bunch of black folks break into stores and loot and tear up stuff, dancing on top of police cars, twerking, all of that video footage. I just watched a whole bunch of black people out there in California who ran into one of the stores and just robbed the heck out of that mug. All because they have downplayed the laws to punish shoplifters. And what group of people are taking advantage of all of that? Black folks. Isn't it crazy how all them black folks been doing that? Here you are twerking on top of a car and they don't get out and shoot you dead. These white systemically racist cops, they didn't do that. They let them loot. They let them burn stuff. And yet, black folks right now is worried about unfair and unequal treatment under the law.
They're not. And I want to say that we have to stop separating between the media and these militant groups like Black Lives Matter and Antifa because they're the same, right? The media members sit at home and they're comfortable, legacy media members, but these other groups, they are their boots on the ground. So the reason why the media has stood behind Black Lives Matter and they stood behind Antifa is because they realize they come up with a narrative and they need that narrative to be defended at all costs, right? So they give them a pass and they say, this is our narrative. Kyle Rittenhouse is a white supremacist. Kyle Rittenhouse is a domestic terrorist. They know this not to be true, right? But they want Black Lives Matter to defend that narrative and to go out and to make sure and to ensure that the outcome is that eventually it is true. And so there's so much going on here. And this is why I believe that there was also a public outcry, which not enough people are talking about. Remember the media was suddenly saying, oh, there's too many white jurors. Like this suddenly became like, oh my gosh, have you realized how many white jurors there are in this case that is involving 3 white men? Like it's suddenly in a majority white country. Like,
wait a minute. Hold up, Candace. Now you're really blowing my mind. Now you're really exposing how black conservatives and how we look at things through the lens of common sense, the lens of rationale, the lens of just deductive reasoning. Yes, Cal has a majority white jury because he's white. He lives down there. A lot of those folks in that area is white. He shot 2 white folks. I don't see what the problem is. But the media comes in and brings that into the whole conversation. For what? Even though it's not relevant? You're really starting to think like a smart person. Not just a black conservative, but a smart person. Go ahead. Finish it, Candace. Make him get sense.
Like suddenly this was a very big piece of the story, as if this is news. It would be weird if it was an all-white jury in Nigeria. Yeah. Not really that big of a deal that it's a majority white jury in America, but they made it a big deal because I think that at the end of the day, what they wanted more black people on the jury. They wanted a majority black jury because in the media's eyes, they believe that black Americans are emotional and they are irrational and that they will vote according to how they're feeling and not according to the facts. I honestly believe that. And we've seen that in some cases that is true. I mean, look at LeBron James. What piece of this case made LeBron James want to come out and attack Kyle Rittenhouse? As he's watching the case and he's watching the same evidence that we're all watching, why did LeBron James feel the need to come out and make fun of Kyle Rittenhouse crying?
Because he's seeing it through those liberal lenses, y'all. He's seeing it through the lenses of all of the, how should I put it, Democrats / white liberals with power, influence, and a political agenda has convinced him to see it through. All of these folks that were just on TV, all of these angry folks, liberal lenses. Yeah. So instead of seeing it and going, hey man, if I was that dude, I would have did the same thing. Instead, somehow it became racist and no black people were even involved in it. That's crazy. That's exactly what they want out of a LeBron James and many other black people. When you respond like that, they're like, yes, gotcha. You're just the type of go-getter we need right here, pushing our narrative.
Because he's not acting rationally, and he's acting irrationally and emotionally. So that's something that really disturbed me about this case, and I feel like a lot of people weren't talking enough about, was why the media wanted there to be more black people on the jury. And at the end of the day, I think that there is sort of this racist undertone in the reason why they wanted more black jurists.
Of course there is, Candace. She summed it up well. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The difference between how these knuckleheads think and respond just based off of being triggered. All you got to do is say, racism, what? I'm ready to go in, coach. Versus somebody who stops and says, I'm not going to allow myself to be used and manipulated by you guys who pretend you love black people, but you got a hidden agenda. And you're using us to do your dirty work for you. You're using our history and our past to anger us and push us around emotionally and demonize your opponents and the folks who are standing in your way. And thank God that Kev from Kevin's Corner, God has given a brain to see through this garbage. Now, God bless you. God bless America. And we'll see y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. And if somebody who is not thinking this way have seen this video and see the light, welcome to the club. There you go. Okay. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. Now, God bless y'all. Don't forget to hit that like button. Share my videos. Also, don't forget to donate if you like Kevin's Corner. There are links in the bottom of this video. Check out Extreme Tees, my sponsor. If you like the products, put Kevin in the promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. And what else? Oh, find me on Rumble in the Jungle. All right, God bless you all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care.